I want to start this video by saying this is the third post-game analysis that is out today, and I do have, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I plan on having 6 more out today. I'm really going to go hard because I've missed the past 2 weeks. I explained that in the Michigan State post-game analysis, but I was sick 1 week and I was camping the other. And I don't feel like making it during the middle of the week. It just doesn't feel right, you know. Not really on anyone's mind. But this is the Washington versus Utah recap. And real quickly. Shoot, that's hot. Alright. I just almost burnt myself on a lamp. Alright. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding that I almost burnt myself. But Washington let me turn off my phone. I'm almost dead. Washington versus Utah. Washington coming out of the victory 31-24. And a big reason why is the third phase of the game. If I had talked about the Ohio State-Penn State game, Ohio State fan, obviously, if you haven't watched any of my other previous videos, but that's what I probably would have titled it. Excuse me. That's probably what I titled it, because obviously that cost us the game. And honestly, similar situation here in Utah. I mean, you look at it as a touchdown game, so you take away the punt return touchdown by Dante Pettis, and yeah. Then you're tied up, may force overtime, you're home, you know, you have the crowd noise on your side. That's pretty big factor. In overtime, so Washington running the ball, Myles Gaskin, I think is a very underrated back. See what he's done this season so far. 19 for 151 and a touchdown against a pretty okay Utah defense. They're not the best, but they're not bad at all. They're one of the better ones in the Pac-12. And he ran all over them. So, Levon Coleman also had 8 carries for 60 yards. So, I mean, together they combined, I think they had over 200 rushing yards as a team, or close to it. Passing, Jake Browning only passed 20 times. He only completed 12 passes. Definitely wasn't a Heisman day for him. 186 yards, an interception, and 2 touchdowns. Not his best performance. I don't see him winning the Heisman. You look at past Heisman's, I'm sorry, I was kicking a tennis ball and now I'm trying to find it. You look at past Heisman's past couple of years, I mean, Jameis Winston, Johnny Manziel, Marcus Mariota, who else do we have before that? Blanking on before that, but I really am blanking. I don't know. But you look at what do all three of those have in common, and to me it's the ability to run. And I think it's really, really hard for a quarterback who cannot run. Now, I'm not saying Browning can't run, but he is not fast. I mean, he has the ability. I mean, I think everyone has the ability to run if you're playing football, but he has limited ability to run. And so if you're not a running quarterback in college, which obviously in college it plays a much bigger factor than the NFL a running quarterback does, then you really have to make up for your passing game. And he had. That's why he was in contention. But after today's 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, only completed 12 passes from 20. I just don't see him winning it, or at least being. I mean, maybe if he goes for like 3 straight 500 passing yard games, but do you really see that happening? No. Receiving, Daryl Daniels 257, John Ross 448, and 2 are both of the touchdowns. Kicking, they were 1 for 1, and obviously Dante Pettis had the other touchdown. For Washington, Washington is going to make the playoffs. However, I don't think they will. You look at their schedule for the remainder of the season, I'm sure they'll be favored in each of those games. I think they're going to lose to USC. This is not a biased opinion. I'd like to say, again, I'm an Ohio State fan. I don't really like either of these. That made it sound like I don't like them. I don't like either of these teams. They're in my middle range. I frankly don't really care. But for the sake of the video, for the sake of me as a sports analysis kid, because I'm just a kid, but I think Washington's going to lose to USC. I think USC's gotten rolling after that loss to Bama, and I think they're going to lose. Especially after today's performance. I kind of was thinking that when USC started to kind of get going, and now I'm especially thinking that. I don't think Utah was a 7-1 team. So they're Washington fans. If you thought I was just going to hate on you and saying you're going to lose, I think Utah, if they had played in the SEC, Big Ten, I don't know about Big 12 because they've kind of been weird this season, or the ACC. Any other conference, really, maybe not the Big 12, but any of those three conferences, ACC, SEC, or Big Ten, they'd probably be like a 5-3 team. But the Pac-12 is weak this year. Everyone thought coming in, Stanford was the heavy favorite. Washington, people had them as one of their surprise teams. Utah had a good season last year, but it's just not happened. Arizona has been a letdown. Arizona State struggled with a bunch of injuries and also kind of just been a letdown. Colorado has been a surprise team, but I think Washington, I'm looking at this point, if Ohio State ends the season with a loss, with only one, and Washington ends the season with one loss, and they both win their divisions. Say they both win their divisions. And so say we already have Clemson, Alabama, and I guess I'll just take those two. I don't know. Okay, if it comes down to that final spot being a one-loss Ohio State team or a one-loss Washington team, I think they take Ohio State. And that's not me being biased. You can say in the comments you're biased, and I'm sure someone probably will. But I'm really not saying that biased, but I'm saying that in division, the strength of the division. The Big Ten this year, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio State. Iowa's kind of been a letdown. Penn State's kind of been a surprise. I know they beat us, and you could argue that Ohio State's not that good, but they are 5-2, and they are in the top 25. Nebraska has been a surprise. I think the Big Ten is stronger than a Pac-12 team that has Washington and Utah. Is anyone else in the quick fact check real quickly? Is anyone else in the Pac-12 ranked other than them? Because then I think that's a fairly reasonable thing. If Ohio State has wins over Michigan, wins over Wisconsin, win over Nebraska, then they're going to beat a team that has a win over Stanford, who everyone thought was going to be good, but they aren't. A team like Utah, who is a decent team, but again, I'd put that a little bit into strength of schedule and strength of conference. Let me look at Pac-12 real quickly. Is there a team I'm blanking on? I feel like there is. Nope, no other team is ranked. There's two teams that looks like on our bye, but I don't think either of them are ranked. So, no, I don't think other team is ranked for the Pac-12. So that's the way I see it. If it comes down to that, this game, you look at Utah's side, they really won most of it. They won third downs barely. It wasn't like that close. Penalties, that's a big part why they lost, honestly. 10 penalties to only 4 for Washington. Total offense, a 9-yard difference. Very, very even game. Great game. Really, really good for the college game day. But, again, third phase of the game, special teams, ends up costing them as a final score. 31-24. If you enjoy this post-game analysis, it was kind of more, I guess, of a outlook for the rest of the season for both these teams. Utah still going to obviously make a bowl because they've already won 7 games. I see them ending somewhere with 9 wins, probably. I'm going to put them around there, 9 or 10. 9-3, 10-2. I don't know. That's how I look at it. And then Washington, I see them losing once, and that's to USC. And if they lose to USC, they're going to make a playoff spot, whether I like it or not. I think if they beat USC, they deserve a playoff spot. So I'll give you that, Washington fans, because you beat everyone in your division, respectively, and you won your Pac-12 championship. So I think if that happens, then they rightfully deserve to win that, to get that playoff spot. But if they lose to USC, then I think it's going to derail their playoff hopes, because they're the last team for the Pac-12. Similar to the Big 12, where Baylor's their last team, and Baylor is struggling right now against Texas. So, we'll see how that one comes out. I will have a post-game analysis on that one later. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more post-game analysis. Again, 6 more coming out today. That's going to put a total of 9 on the day. Probably could find a 10th one, but may not be able to do it because these do take a little bit of time to make. And by a little, I mean about an hour of production for each of these, so I've been up since about 12. Just kind of getting ready. Anyway, comment your opinion down below. Washington, Utah fan, comment your opinion. If you disagree with me, please just disagree with me and politely disagree with me. You don't have to come down in the comment section and yell at me, because it's just my opinion. Everyone has a right to their opinion, and you have a right to your opinion, so leave it in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.